I should have taken it. I got to take the Saudi Arabia deal. I should have taken it. I'm washed.
So I do get the fact that they perpetrated 9/11.
I'm not doing it.
That is good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like,
they doubled the bag, the princes?
It was a significant bag.
What?
But I'd already said no. You know, I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
It wasn't even that. I didn't even think about it.
I thought we were allies with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we are. We give them a ton of.
So why the hell did they do 9/11 to us?
Wasn't Osama bin Laden just from Saudi Arabia?
Every single hijacker basically was Saudi.
Yeah,
you don't 9/11 your friends, bro.
Don't 9/11 your friends.
You don't.
And go over and go, hey guys, you guys want to talk about? I was in 7th grade when you guys did that. It was nuts.
At least Shane Gillis got some integrity.
There's a part of me that doesn't want to judge all the comedians that have agreed to do the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. But so for those of you who aren't aware, there's this. It's funded by the monarchy in Saudi Arabia. It started this past Friday, and there's all these comedians that have agreed to do it, and I don't know. Maybe some of them think they're going to go there and they're gonna say something and push the system, shake it up. I don't think so. You know, I think it can be scary. I've gone to different countries with different rules, and I always get nervous because I know if I ever get in prison.
Saudi Arabia, the best place to do comedy. You can joke about everything there, obviously.
All right, I know we like to have fun here, but got to get serious for one sec. Back in my home country, freedom of speech is under attack. You never really know what you can or can't say. Thanks to the beautiful hospitality of the royal family, I know exactly what I can't say because they wrote a list and made me sign it, agreeing that I won't criticize their regime. That's what I call a class act. All right, thanks, everyone. Sir, amazing set.
Thank you.
One thing, your fans are upset.
I figured.
Because of all the human rights violations here.
Yeah.
9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Their government stands for everything you oppose.
Right.
They demanded that you censor yourself just to appear here.
And
This is a PR nightmare. We've got to fix this.
I have a plan.
You do? Great. What is it?
Tell them they paid me so much money.
Yeah. Anything else?
They'll understand. What's the thing that the kids say these days? Get your bag.
You're getting your bag.
I'm getting my bag. In Saudi Arabia.
You're already worth millions of dollars. One could say you got your bag multiple times over.
As the kids say, keep getting that bag in perpetuity. It put compound interest on the bag.
They don't say that.
They do sometimes.
If you do this for the money, you are just a
Dave
sellout.
Chappelle. 3 years ago, his high school was going to name their theater after him. But following blowback after his Netflix special and jokes aimed at trans people, the offer was rescinded. What was Dave's response? Insisting the theater be named for artistic freedom and expression instead. But here is Dave now promoting the Saudi Arabia Riyadh Comedy Festival. It's a state-sponsored comedy festival, including big names like Chappelle, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, Kevin Hart, Aziz Ansari, Gabriel Iglesias, Andrew Schultz, and more. These comedians, some of whom I really like, were offered huge amounts of money by the Saudi government to perform. The rumor is that the rates are between $375,000 and $1.6 million.
This comedian makes a lot more. I don't get it. Why would they take that kind of blood money to do this?
Well, there's a Riyadh Comedy Festival. I don't know if you heard about that. This is true. There's a Riyadh, Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. I mean, how do you even promote that? You know, like, from the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase. But don't let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I was not asked to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so it's kind of easy for me to take the high road on this one. Easy to maintain your integrity when no one's offering to buy it out, you know?
Good for you, sir. I'm sure you would have said no anyway.
It's going to be this comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I think in Riyadh, and they asked me to do it. And I would have debated over doing it, but I had to say no because it's supposed to be like 5 days after I'm having a baby. So I had to say no. But now I keep thinking of all these jokes I would have told. if I had gone. I mean, I definitely would have been Khashoggi'd. And by that, I mean murdered by the government. But I, for some reason, without even trying, I just keep thinking of all these jokes I would have told in Saudi. And I'm going to tell you them here now.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it would certainly have been my last ever performance, I think. Okay, so I would have started with, sorry, I'm late, I drove here. It's nice to be in a place where women still have a leg up on gay men. Or, I don't know, whatever body part they're cutting off. We have this phrase in America, you're only a stone's throw away, which means you're close. I don't think it means the same thing here. I think it's more like you're only a stone's throw away from learning that lesson.
Crazy. I don't think they would have liked this joke at all.
You can go to Muslim countries and yell, I love bacon. There's no laws against it.
I will be doing it at the Riyadh Comedy Festival very soon. Get your tickets. Get your tickets.
Are you really going to go there?
Of course I am.
Wow.
Why would I not? Would they kill gay people and women? By the way, we've said that about, we say this about every Muslim country is throwing gay people off the roof all the time, by the way. Okay? I obviously don't agree with Saudi Arabian policies on women and things like that.
Yeah.
Is it my business to tell Saudi Arabia how to live? Truly.
How big was the check?
$375,000 for one show.
Nice.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
I'll take that.
I'll watch a behanding for that.
Behanding?
Yeah. It's called a behanding. What happens is they cut the hand off the thief.
Yeah.
Here's
Don't
the thing.
steal.
All the people that have yelled at me for this are also pro letting migrants and refugees into America at very high numbers. Now, the same religion that is supposedly so terrifying that I cannot spend 24 hours in that country is the same religion that all of these migrants and refugees are pretty supportive of that are coming over.
Yeah.
So it feels weird to me that people are getting on a moral high horse and going, it is so dangerous to go to Saudi Arabia for 48 hours.
You gotta defend free speech. It is in the First Amendment for a good reason.
When I think Saudi Arabia, I always think comedy. I think we can all fondly remember those Saudi sitcoms we grew up with, you know? Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's one of my personal favorites. You know, How I Bought Your Mother. That's another great one. Faulty Twin Towers. That's great too. They got the Riyadh Comedy Festival happening in September. They wanted to do it on 9/11, but apparently the organisers were busy. What would your set even be? You know, you're coming on stage being like, hey, take my wives, please. All right, so a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead walk into a bar. I mean, I assume. I actually don't know. You'd have to ask their husband. Was I doing some classics like, hey, why did Jamal Khashoggi not go to the party? Oh, he had no body to go with.
Okay, that was wild. That was actually funny.
Top comedians are criticizing their peers for participating in the Riyadh Comedy Festival, a state-sponsored Saudi event. These are all the free speechers being completely paid off not to speak. What do you think about this?
Well, let me be clear. I've gone to Riyadh and spoken and cashed their checks. And I do so openly and wholeheartedly and with a total absence of guilt.
Yes, but these are comics, Scott. These are people who go on and on about free speech and insult everybody about it.
So let me be clear. I believe MBS ordered the murder of Khashoggi. In our nation, we're letting, we're taking away health care from people. We're removing security details from former officials. We're incarcerating and pulling people out of work with people en masse. I literally think we're in no position to wave our finger at anybody right now.
I completely disagree with you.
I completely disagree either. Free speech gotta be defended.
I was going to talk about these comedians that are over there performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. And there's a huge uproar. They're like the new live golfers. If the live golfers can survive, getting a giant payday by the Saudis, I think the comedians probably can. all the big ones are over there taking huge checks. Kevin Hart, Chris Tucker, Pete Davidson, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Russell Peters, Aziz Ansari. They're all getting massive checks, some in the deep hundreds of thousands and some in the millions. You know, Dave Chappelle is probably getting $5 million to do one set. It's just, it's crazy. Shane Gillis did turn them down. Shane said, on principle, he said no. And then he said they doubled the bag. They doubled the money in his face. And then he was like, well, then I just look like a total fraud. I already said no. On principle, you doubled the money. I can't do it. So Shane said no. Mark Maron, his comments were actually great in dissent. But first of all, he said, it's easy for me to take the high road on this one because they didn't invite me. Okay, good of him to honor that. He says, well, Mark Maron says, how do you promote that? From the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert, don't miss it. I mean, that is a great line. He says, you know, the same guy that's going to pay these comedians is the same guy who also paid some mook to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and stick him in a effing suitcase. David Cross, who I guess used to be on Arrested Development, the comedian, he said he was disgusted, deeply, deeply disappointed in this whole gross thing. Human Rights Watch, you know, these the human rights violations in Saudi Arabia from these people, and the currently the journalists and activists who are detained, and people are pissed. People are
absolutely insane that these comedians would accept the blood money to go there and perform.
It's Billy Burka here, right? And we're doing this on a Monday. Right? I don't know, dude. That song's been in my head for like a week now, right? I'm going, dude, this place is like America, right? I don't know. I think it actually might have been more free than America. I was like, you know, no orange guy, right? No corruption. Just clean streets, right? Everybody just walking around. I think we should take some notes on this place. But, and dude, like, why are we not all eating on the floor like normal people, right? Oh, you go sit in a chair. No, that's corruption, right? I thought I'd get off the plane and they'd be like, death to America, death to America. And I was like, no, they weren't. They were eating McDonald's, right? I'm going, these people are doing, you know, 10-piece nuggets. McFlurry over here, right? I'm going, dude. I don't know, dude. This is normal eating. Look at this, right? Like, what are we doing using forks? Like, who invented the fork? Some racist bigot, right? Dude, is that Wendy's, right?
Okay, that was funny. It was, This guy is absolutely hilarious. Style of issue for you.
Comedian, truth teller, Guinness World Record holder for the number of times I asked, what do you do in a comedy special? You might know me from my sellout comedy tours. Yeah, I said it, uncancelled. Never apologise, never explain. To be clear, that's my motto, and those women are liars. I've always believed that comedy is about smashing boundaries and crushing sensibilities. Liberals, watch out. I'll take on any taboo and slaughter any sacred cow. Wokeness. White privilege? When suntan lotion's this expensive? I don't think so. Transness. If a man can identify as a woman, can I identify as being exempt from tax? Seriously, is that possible? Joe Biden's old. Joe Biden's so old, he remembers black and white TV. Yeah, I said it. It's all about freedom of speech, baby. Facts don't care about your feelings. And if you can't take a joke, then just grow a pair.
Grow a pair. I think you should be able to joke about everything, honestly.
Hi guys, I was really disappointed that I wasn't accepted for the Riyadh Comedy Festival, and I'd already written quite a few jokes, so I just thought I'd do some of them now, and then maybe the organisers will see them and they'll think of me next year. When they first booked me for this gig, I nearly took their hand off. You know when you're going on holiday with your wife and she's taking 3 suitcases full of clothes and you're like, honey, we're only going for a week. Look, I've only got 1 suitcase and half of that's taken up with a dead journalist. I heard someone say, I can't believe all these famous comedians who've agreed to do the Riyadh Comedy Festival. They've got such a medieval attitude to women. And I said, sure, but what about the Saudis? Men drive like this, whereas women aren't allowed to drive. I was talking to one of the guys who does the beheadings. Talk about a cutthroat business. So many international names here at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. The last time the Saudi government organized this many flights was 9/11. People love to say you can't say anything anymore, but not in Saudi Arabia because you couldn't say anything before. Remember when you guys threatened to 9/11 Canada?
Oh my gosh, this is what you call dark humor, and I love it.
So comedians are being called out by their peers for performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. Shane Gillis turned down an invitation to perform here, and Mark Maron called out the comedians who are for taking blood money. That's because the event is being hosted by Turki al-Sheikh and the Saudi government, which is a monarchy. And in my opinion, I'm just glad attention is being drawn to the crimes of the US-backed Saudi regime. This is a government that created the largest cholera outbreak in history by bombing all of Yemen's water sanitation facilities. And they've been known to unalive journalists who don't push their preferred narratives, most recently and famously Jamal Khashoggi. Which is ironic because comedians like Andrew Schulz have positioned themselves as warriors for free speech. But to play devil's advocate, it was the United States of America who was fueling these Saudi jets as they bombed Yemen. Yet comedians don't face the same kind of backlash when they perform at events hosted by the US government. For example, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So you could definitely argue that it doesn't really matter they're performing here because there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, under the current system. Turki al-Sheikh funds a lot of the UFC's events, and nobody really seems to notice. So I don't know, are you mad at these comedians for performing?
Because it seems like free speech doesn't matter if the bag is big enough, crazy.
Now, speaking of scumbags with no integrity, I wanted to talk a little bit about something called the Saudi Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
Didn't get an offer, you know, so at least they are consistent with the American comedy industry as well. So they do share some similarities.
Right.
And I know we're at this point now where how long are you going to beat up the Saudis? How long are you going to, you know, they've never paid for 9/11. They paid no consequences for the butchering of Jamal Khashoggi.
Yeah.
Some journalist was just murdered like 3 months ago.
Oh, another one?
Yeah.
Oh,
look it up
boy.
in June, I think. Probably when they announced the comics. And this is what I've always said about comedians. And now we have it on full fucking display.
They're all scumbags.
They're all scabs.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't we have a guild or a union?
Right.
You can't have workers' rights when everybody is an out for themselves, line crossing scab.
Yeah.
And now you see the elites, the people with the most protection, the most generational wealth that any group of comedians has ever had.
Yep.
This is the richest group of comedians in history.
It is absolutely disgusting and appalling, and I have no words left.
From the guys that brought you 9/11, Jamal Khashoggi, and modern-day slavery, comes their next great venture, comedy. To kick off their inaugural Riyadh Comedy Festival, they only picked the best of the best. Comics who call out greed.
You're going to make them listen to ads then switch to Patreon?
Fight for free speech.
I am not bending to anybody's demands.
And crusade against billionaires.
Like, how does a CEO take a 8-figure bonus and none of your employees have dental insurance?
And now, they bring those shared values to Saudi Arabia.
Alhamdulillah. Please take a look at the short list of topics you cannot joke about. And if you do choose to violate these rules, we have an extensive highlight reel we'd be happy to add you to.
You fucked up now, Habib. Let's check in with one comic who didn't quite catch the briefing.
Any journalists in the audience? I'm with you guys. That last guy was a real buzzkill. Comedy. At least let me finish the joke at a killer punchline.
For the rest of the comics,
I want to know what I can do to become a Saudi citizen.
the toughest part of their set will be deciding how many times to thank the Crown Prince.
Your Majesty, Your Highness.
Meet you, friends, you, here, next time, handshakes in person, no video.
But before you start casting stones, per local custom, remember, these people are hurting for cash. Yachts, helicopters, and private jets are not cheap. I'm just glad they had such a great time.
Definitely top 3 experiences I've ever had. And the Royals love the show.
And according to Dave Chappelle, it's easier to talk in Saudi Arabia than it is in America. I agree. In Saudi, they only lose their lives. You got your booking canceled, for God's sake.
They probably ruined their whole career by going there, and they don't care. Crazy world we live in.
That Saudi Comedy Fest is pretty crazy, right? You know, considering that same regime, like, kidnapped a journalist and murdered him and chopped him up with a bone saw. But, you know, that's comedy over there, so...
How can you go to Saudi and do any kind of comedy when basically you cannot joke about anything? I don't understand how you can ruin your reputation so easily. Thanks for watching, guys. Click right there to watch the next one. Bye bye.